Good evening and welcome to Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter. We have a significant development in the world of international diplomacy to share with you tonight, as reports are emerging that the United States and Iran are set to return to nuclear talks. This announcement comes after months of tension between the two nations, and it's a story we'll be following closely. According to President Donald Trump, direct talks are poised to begin, although Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqi has clarified that these discussions will be indirect and held in Oman on April 12. The goal of these talks is to address Tehran's nuclear program, a key foreign policy objective for the United States and its allies. It's worth noting that the path to any potential deal between the U.S. and Iran is fraught with challenges. President Trump has issued a stark warning that if the talks are unsuccessful, Iran is going to be in great danger. This statement underscores the high stakes involved in these negotiations. To provide some context, the U.S. and Iran have not had formal diplomatic relations since 1980. In 2015, the Obama administration negotiated an agreement with Iran, which limited its nuclear activities in exchange for relief from sanctions. However, in 2016, President Trump unilaterally pulled the U.S. out of this deal, leading to a significant escalation of tensions between the two nations. We'll continue to monitor these developments and provide updates as more information becomes available. It's essential to approach this story with a critical and nuanced perspective, recognizing the complexities and potential implications of these talks. We're committed to bringing you fair and balanced reporting here on Concrete Block, and will strive to provide context and insights from multiple perspectives. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll explore the potential consequences of these negotiations and what they might mean for the region and the world at large. That's all for now. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex and intriguing story that's been unfolding across the federal government. Today, we're exploring the impact of President Trump's executive orders aimed at reducing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives within federal agencies. It appears that these orders have led to a wave of layoffs and terminations, affecting numerous employees who had dedicated their careers to serving the American public. The story of Jessica Stain, a former employee who received an unexpected termination notice, has raised concerns about the potential brain drain in the federal workforce. We've also heard from Cheryl Pyatt, another affected employee, who emphasized that her work was nonpartisan and focused on ensuring equal employment opportunities, as mandated by law. Her office, the Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, received a termination notice citing a different executive order aimed at maximizing efficiency through downsizing. It's essential to acknowledge the concerns of those who believe these layoffs may disproportionately affect specific communities, such as English language learners. Jessica Swan, an employee from the Department of Education, shared her story of being put on leave despite working on grants to support teachers and students in need. As we examine this situation, it's crucial to consider multiple perspectives and potential motivations behind these executive orders. While some argue that the cuts are necessary to streamline government operations and prioritize student outcomes, others see them as an attack on diversity and inclusion initiatives. We strive to provide a balanced view of this complex issue, recognizing the complexities and nuances involved. As we continue to follow this story, we'll aim to bring you updates and insights from various stakeholders. For now, it's clear that the impact of these executive orders will be far-reaching, affecting not only federal employees, but also the communities they serve. We'll keep a close eye on developments and provide ongoing coverage as more information becomes available. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're closing out today's show with a story that's been making waves in the world of international trade. The Trump administration has been imposing tariffs on various countries, and Singapore is one of the latest nations to be affected. Now, let's break down what this means for Singapore and the global economy. The US has imposed a 10% tariff on Singapore, which may not seem like a lot, but it can have significant implications for trade between the two countries. According to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative, U.S. goods trade with Singapore totaled an estimated $89.2 billion in 2024. On one hand, this tariff could lead to increased costs for American consumers who rely on imports from Singapore. On the other hand, it could also create opportunities for Singapore to benefit from what's known as tariff arbitrage. This is when companies take advantage of differing tariff rates between countries to minimize their costs and maximize their profits. As our guest expert, Bhaigashre Garika Tonto, the Straits Times U.S. Bureau Chief, notes, Singapore can turn the disadvantage of the 10% tariff into its favor. As we get into tariff arbitrage situations, Singapore is likely to be a beneficiary. This could lead to increased investment and trade in certain sectors, such as technology and pharmaceuticals. However, it's also important to consider the potential risks and challenges associated with these tariffs. The Trump administration has dropped hints that more tariffs may be forthcoming on specific sectors, which could further disrupt global trade. To get a balanced view, we also spoke with Frank Lavin, a former U.S. ambassador to Singapore, who suggests that the current administration is open to talks and willing to cut deals. He advises Singapore to send a cabinet-level official to meet with the U.S. Commerce Secretary for an overall review of the bilateral trade relationship. As we wrap up this story, it's clear that the implications of these tariffs are complex and multifaceted. While there may be opportunities for growth and investment, there are also potential risks and challenges that need to be carefully considered. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.